Okay. So how long has the transgenders, or how long has that been a part of Fairview? Like,
And it's hard
for a while, but
yeah.
recently I feel like it became more of a prominent.
Yes. It's hard to know, because I think that a lot of kids may or may not be out and open, right?
Mm-hmm.
That, if you think about gay students in our building, you may or may not know who they are. I mean, they may be very out and open and very, very open about who they are, and kind of represent that side of themselves very, very openly. And I think whereas, for transgender kids, I think it's a harder thing to be out and open about at times. Mm-hmm. And I think it's changing, though. I think it's totally changing, and that's what we're wanting to be able to allow that to happen, right? But I think was it about 5 years ago? No, it had to have been 3 years ago. 3 years ago, we had a student here in our building who transitioned, meaning that the person in our building was pretty open and honest about their own transition from one gender to another gender. So I think that when we as a school went through that process and we had a very courageous person do that openly in our school, maybe not super openly, but open enough to, friends and teachers and to the school, that made us really look at, okay, how many different things do we have in this building that impede a person due to gender? And what can we do to make everything accessible to everyone? Because if we look at our Boulder Valley School District non-discrimination policy, gender expression is on there. So we have to protect people for their gender expression, meaning that if they want to be in, a different gender team, we have to be able to allow that to happen. If they want to sing in a different gender choir, we have to allow some of that to happen. There's a lot of, that's the law. That's our non-discrimination policy. But how easy do we make that? That's not always easy, so how can we make that be more easy? And that's when we began to realize, wow, we need to make things more gender neutral. We need to make things more gender accepting. We need to make things, issues like bathrooms, issues like locker rooms, issues like, specific, when a teacher says males over here, females over here, does that exclude anyone? Or does that make it difficult for a person to identify? So that brought everything to the head for us probably about 3 or 4 years ago when we had a student transition in our building. And I think since then, we've created a lot of different structures in our building that have been supportive, and we've been able to work through each of these issues pretty well. I mean, not perfectly, but pretty well. And each situation is unique, but each situation we get better and better about how we can address the needs of the student. So I think your question was how long? Yeah. So I think it was about 4 years ago, maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very long answer to your little question.
No, that's good. So how do you think the training will have an effect on Fairview? What do you think the results will be?
I think it's already doing things in this building that are positive. So to me, it's if we did 1 or 2 things positive, it was totally worth it. And one of the first things that I've already heard from kids from the GSA is teachers are explaining what the safe zone sign means. The student who was a former student of Fairview that presented really made a point to say one of the things you can do in your class is simply explain the safe zone sign. It's everybody has the safe zone sign. It's been stuck there forever. There could be paint around it because nobody moved it when they painted or whatever, but it's been there forever. But really, what does it mean? And what do you do to make it a safe zone? What do you do to protect students in your class? And so the teachers were really excited about that, and they wanted to be able to explain, and I hope some of your teachers have, but I think that teachers are beginning to at least explain what this means. And they're explaining that a lot of teachers are saying, in my space, in my classroom, I will not accept anyone calling somebody names or saying the word "that's so gay" or "faggot" or making any statements about anyone's body size or shape or, or their ability, or anything like that, that I'm not going to tolerate having anyone feel bad in my class. And so we're a safe zone. We're going to try to make our class feel safe. And so I've already heard that some teachers are doing that. So my hope is that that's something that comes out of the training, is that teachers are aware that the sign is nice and it's good and it's there, but unless people actually know that you're enforcing it, or that you truly believe it, or that you're truly open to everyone in your classroom, then I think that could be positive. I think the other positive is that I think that the teachers now just have an awareness that there could be a variety of different kids with different needs in their classes, and how they say things, how they word things can make such a difference. So I think teachers, just that simple little awareness, and it's years and years ago we did a training to teachers on gay and lesbian, bisexual issues, not really focused on transgender issues at all. And it was immediate that their awareness around harassment came up. Like, they were then immediately aware of the fact that their kids in their class were getting harassed for being gay. And that completely reduced some of the harassment in this building. So that was about 12 years ago, so it was a long time ago. So now that they have more of an awareness around transgender student issues, that they can have that awareness of, oh my gosh, somebody's maybe possibly hearing something or saying something that could be hurtful or harmful to them. So that's the other hopeful byproduct of the training, is that they just have that awareness, that they just have that scope. So.
Okay, were there any, you already said about how that one student,
Mm-hmm.
but was there any other specific events or anything that happened that you decided that you kind of need this training? Or?
I think so. I think that it's been that we've been open, we've been moving toward addressing more issues for more kids. So, yeah. And I think specifics I need to keep out. So,
Right.
But more along, I can't really talk about any specific things that we've done to address situations for kids. So, but what I can just say is I think that we continue to be able to address the needs in ways that have been really positive. So, and like I said, we still have a lot to learn, but we're really open to learning. Like I think that there's, it's great we've done some stuff, and we're kind of over here, we have some understanding, but we're totally open to becoming even better. Kind of like that good to great, right? That was a lot of a theme of our discussions before you guys came was, we're a good school. We're a pretty great school. Pretty good school. We have to be even better sometimes. So that's kind of what our goal is.
Okay. And how do you think the transgender community at Fairview is different from transgender communities at other high schools or just in other places?
It's tough to say. It would be great to talk to kids on that. I think the other thing is that every single issue is so different. It's so tough to know what any one person's experience is, because everybody's experience is different. And I think that there's so many different factors and variables that go into anyone's experience. So say, for instance, a person might have transitioned when they were a lot younger, and so it's not really that much of a big deal for them now. You know what I mean? Versus a person that just transitioned in middle school, and then they're coming to high school, and then it's a totally different deal. Or a person that transitioned in high school, and they're just in that transition phase. So I think that the difference here is that we really, really try to work on making sure that their personal rights are really respected, meaning that we're not going to, we're not going to violate their rights. We're going to really address the students' rights. So that's something we really try to focus on.
Okay. And the last thing I was wondering is about graduate students that have talked to you that you think might be willing.
Yeah, I think we have several students that have graduated. Some might be hard to find. just because they're all over the country going to college and stuff.
Yeah.
But one student I know is local, and I think that when I called Melissa, I asked if she could get a hold of the student and ask if he could speak to you guys, and hopefully he will, and he'd be great. He's the person who spoke to us too, so he could give you more insight from his perspective about how good the teachers were or not, because he answered their questions. And then we have several other students that are still are in touch with us. So we'll see. I know a couple of the students have already left for college, so they're not around.
Okay.
A little harder. I mean, you may be able to email them, but
Okay.
okay.
Cool. Do you guys have any other questions?
Good. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much.
Yeah.